Welcome to another episode of the No Ceilings Podcast. I'm Tyler Metcalf, joined as always by Tyler Rucker. Rucker, we got a fun one today. How we doing?
Very fun one, very ugly one. It's going to be vicious. I was pumped out of my mind when you suggested this last week, and prepping for this one, I was like, we made a terrible mistake. It's going to be really funny, but I'm doing good, Metcalf. I will say, in life when you think you have busy, crazy weeks and you're like, it can't get much worse than this, it can. The spoiler alert for all the young folk out there, when you think you have a chaotic week, it can get a little crazier as you get older. So other than that, I'm great. We're talking hoops. I'm with you. Fantastic. How are you doing?
When the team that you root for makes a franchise altering trade,
Here we go.
what's wrong?
Let's talk about it.
All right,
Let's talk about it.
We can be quick.
How are you feeling? I read the tweet 14 times, and I'm on the couch with my wife. Shout out my wife, love you. And we're like mid sentence of a story, and I just freeze when I look down at my phone, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I need a minute."
Yeah.
I was just like, "What in the world?" So, how are you feeling, Mr. Timberwolves?
Yeah, I think I was opening like the second bottle of wine that night, and just kind of was mid opening it and just like sat down in the kitchen. It's like, holy shit! All right, here we go. It's like, all right, there are a lot of people I need to talk to about this, and tonight is not the night to do that. Um, so it's always tricky because I mean, from a human standpoint, it's tough to ask for much more out of your kind of franchise player than Cat, and he is a hell of a person. And yeah, is he corny a little bit? Sure. Is Can some of his play be obnoxious and weird and sometimes just detrimental? Sure. But he is just a good dude. The handful of times I've gotten to talk to him in the locker room, he's been nothing but incredibly nice and welcoming and talkative and open. So I get that the national perception of him is a little different than what Minnesota fans and people think of him, but he's just a good dude and he's a really damn good basketball player. It's a shame that this had to happen. One of the things that I've found, let's say, entertaining is how everyone, a few months ago was like, "Ah, Timberwolves have peaked. They can't win with this roster going forward. There's no flexibility. Cat's not him. You can't win with this guy." And now it's, oh, this organization is in shambles. Look at them cutting money and Ant's prime. It's like, well, he's not in his prime yet. So which one is it? Is it that Cat's a bum, he's overpaid, and you can't win with him, or is it that the organization is cutting money and they got rid of the best player in the trade and they're offloading and trying to just save money? Um, I think that's been interesting. I do think the Knicks got the best player in the trade. I also think that the Timberwolves did a good job in getting Julius Randle back, who's a solid player. I'm a little lower on him than others. Dante DiVincenzo at 3 years, 36 million. Fantastic value, fantastic player. The depth on this team is insane for just this next year. And it also gives them a ton more flexibility in terms of retaining guys and, moving pieces in the future. Whereas next year, they would probably, if they didn't make this move, they'd probably lose Nas. They'd probably lose Nikhil Alexander-Walker, and pieces would slowly start to fall away year after year after year. And this just gives them more flexibility to kind of do different things going forward as Ant really continues to grow and get into his prime. He's 23. He's not even there yet. So I wish nothing but the best for Cat. That offense in New York is going to be fantastic. I really hope they don't throw him in drop coverage. He's a much better defender than people give him credit for, but he's never kind of been able to figure out the drop coverage part. If they play him at the level, let him cause a little chaos, use his size up there at the level of the screen, and let guys like OG and Mikhail wreak havoc behind him with rotations and all that kind of stuff. I think their defense could be really, really solid. But I think it's one of those big trades where it makes a lot of sense for both sides.
It's one of those deals where there's like 15 levels of inner debate when you keep thinking about it. It's not one of those just like, okay, who got the better part of the. It's like, okay, there's a lot of stuff to weigh here.
Yeah.
The more I thought about it, the more I'm arguing like, hey, I love what Minnesota did. And it's really interesting when you kind of hear the buzz. It seems like a lot of execs, I know Kevin O'Connor said something about it. I think Windhorst or someone else said something about it too, but it's like a lot of the execs around the league love Minnesota as part of it. And everyone might be quick and be like, why? They got Randall. I think the Timberwolves were getting to a clear point of power, like passing the baton of it's Anthony Edwards' team.
Mm-hmm.
I think Towns knew it. You could tell,
And
like
he did, and he sacrificed
he,
a lot. He changed his entire game.
Yes, and I tip my hat to him because it
Yeah.
was kind of cool for him to sort of realize, like, okay, and he was fantastic with his role. Like, he averaged 21, 8, and 3 with shooting 41% from downtown last year. Like, Karl-Anthony Towns is a hell of a basketball player. It's a fantastic, we are holy crap all in move by the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be very exciting. But I love I think there was only, it was a clock that was ticking for the Timberwolves with Towns. It was inevitable. And it was like, you're either going to try to get back those Gobert picks or you're going to try to get pieces. And they got two fantastic pieces. Now, I know people are a little hot and cold on Randall. Randall had a very good year with Chris Finch. Everyone should remember that. DiVincenzo is a fantastic asset now. And so they have, like you said, Metcalf, they have scary, good, fun depth. And it's not just like, oh, we have shooters on the bench. They have a little bit of everything now. They have, I think this is a big Naz Reid minutes climb, hopefully. Yep. Be really interesting to see what they do there. Knicks, you got firepower. You've got a ton of it. And, you know, yes, I'm a Boston Celtics fan. Everybody knows this about me. They're clearly trying to say, hey, we're trying to build something to mirror that team, to go toe-to-toe with them. If it comes along quickly, they're going to be dangerous. But I love the move to go get Towns to just be like, we're all in. And it's always fun when it's very easy when you're not the fan base with the superstar traded, because you're like, well, Towns is overrated. And when you have that guy on your team, you're always like, we absolutely loved him. He was a big part of our team. He was a big part of the community. That's the one thing you hear. That's the common analysis from Timberwolves fans, writers. Like, I follow all of them because I'm a Vikings fan. So I naturally am reading about the Timberwolves, and everyone just is glowing about Towns. And it's going to be really, really interesting. But I think it's a heck of a swing for both teams. And I kind of like what Minnesota's doing of, hey, this is Ant's team. Let's build depth around him. And we always say you need depth when you get in those playoff series. Guys get hurt. Guys get banged up. You have to have these pieces. And DiVincenzo is going to be a fantastic asset for them now.
Totally agree. If you want further details on all the money and, you know, how the cap ramifications and, you know, X's and O's fit, highly recommend go check out Dane Moore's podcast. He was also on with Knicks Film School. Go check out both those outlets. They did a fantastic job of breaking it down for both sides. So big trade, changed kind of the landscape of the West. Yeah.
One last thing. How annoying was like a 2-day delayed James Nagy throw-in mention? I was like,
very fun.
I was like, what? This is fantastic. So Charlotte's the third team, and all of a sudden it's just out of nowhere we get the James Nagy, which I was like, this is a really smart.
Yeah.
It's not even a gamble. It's just with the Knicks trading all those firsts away, you get Pacome. Now you get a guy that I think should have never gone to Charlotte. Hornets fans, I love you. But it just, me and you were right after the drop. We're like, why did they take him? It makes no sense. So I think that's a really smart investment.
Yeah.
It's also like surprising, so cheap. Like a throw in off of 1 year, like overseas. Like, guy just turned 20, I think. So yeah, it's a fun trade. It's going to be really interesting to see how it plans out. But I really do like it for both teams. It makes sense.
Yeah. I really can't wait. And just in terms of roster building, and I think this is kind of the first inkling of us of seeing how the first and second aprons are really going to come into play and how wary teams are because of the really intense restrictions that those benchmarks put on you going forward, especially when you have a young superstar like Anthony Edwards, who's 23, not even in his prime yet. And you just have to retain that flexibility. So by the time he does hit 26, 27, 28, you still have that ability to move stuff around and maximize his window. So I think the Timberwolves were the first kind of team that we're seeing go through this. A couple years from now, Orlando, Oklahoma City. I think we're going to see some really fascinating decisions having to be made. But it's fun. It's a big trade. Very excited to see how it goes. And, if you want to join me in seeing how that goes, I will be doing a playback for the Timberwolves Lakers preseason game Friday night. So that'll be up on our socials. Come hang out. We'll watch the game, see how the Timberwolves are looking. Along with the Lakers, I guess they've done some stuff too, and people seem to like them for whatever reason. But let's move
They
on.
do?
Let's get to the heart of this episode, which is we're doing an expansion draft, and we'll get to it right after a quick break. Okay, Rucker. So the seasons haven't officially kicked off yet. So, we figured, screw it. Let's have a little fun. Let's get a little weird. Let's do an expansion draft because why not? So it's a little
I want
tricky.
you to have first pick. I'm going to put that out there before you keep going. So go ahead.
Okay. So what we're going to do, we're both going to pick our own city. We all the universal we know that it's probably going to be Vegas and Seattle. That's boring. We outlawed those. So we'll get to, we'll pick a city and we're just going to go through an expansion draft like it would play out. Some of the rules, I didn't incorporate all of them. There are some extra rules with restricted and unrestricted free agents, and contracts going into the future and all that kind of stuff. I ignored that for the sake of simplicity, and we're focusing on the salaries for the 2024-25 season. So this season, also since the expansion draft would take place before the NBA draft, rookies are automatically protected. So none of the rookies from the 2024 NBA draft will be available. Some of the other rules, each team can protect 8 players. So some of these lists, when we protect 8 guys plus the rookies, pickings get a little slim, gets a little ugly pretty quickly. Each team can only lose 1 player from their unprotected list. So if a Minnesota Timberwolf gets picked, no one else on that team is available. In year 1, expansion teams are limited to 66.7% of the league-wide salary cap. So the cap that we will be working off of is 93 million, just under 94 million. And the salary floor for expansion teams is 90% of that salary cap. So we have to get to just over 84 million. Yeah, I think that is it. Anything I missed?
No, I just wanted everyone to
Got a
take a
spreadsheet for the
second.
YouTube
Yeah,
for those watching video.
shout out. I want everyone to take a second to process that and realize how ugly this is going to get. And it's going to be so much fun. You're going to hear some names and be like, what in the world? But it's tough because me and Metcalf were talking and we're like, okay, we need to hit the floor. So there's strategy. You got to somehow take some financially unfavorable contracts while also targeting okay, who are the guys that I, in theory, could move maybe for trade value. It gets ugly. There's a lot of numbers that I was like, oh my goodness, that's a scary one that I would like that talent, but don't want that money, but I also might have to take them to get to the floor. So yeah, it gets really gross, especially when we excluded rookies, which I thought was a fantastic, rule. Very excited about this.
Yeah.
I made a big board and I was like, oh my goodness, this is gross. So I might draft 15 guards. I'm kidding, but I'm excited about this. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and if we have yet to get to the floor, technically we can continue drafting as long as we want. When Charlotte joined, they made 19 selections and they could have gone to 30 or 29, but they said, nah, we're good at 19. So we'll see how the kind of money plays into it. I have, spreadsheet to kind of track all this up for those watching video. For those on audio, we will do our best.
Yeah.
But all right, so I also went through and already applied some protections to all these teams. We're just going to kind of run through them. If you disagree with them, if you think someone should be protected versus if they shouldn't, we can discuss. So with the Atlanta Hawks, I protected Trey Young, Clint Capella, DeAndre Hunter, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Onyeka Okongwu, Zachary Risochet's Otto, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, Kobe Buffkin. That means Larry Nance, Cody Zeller, David Roddy, Garrison Matthews, Vic Krejci, and Mohamed Gay are available. That's just a teaser of who we get to pick from today. Any objections?
No objections. You know what would have been an amazing exercise is getting each fan base to come on to say, who do you guys want to protect?
Oh, also just important point of clarity. The names I went through were who Spotrac had as taking a cap hit this year. So two-way guys also were not included on this. That would have made, guys like Jordan Miller a little more intriguing, but alas, he will not be available. All right, moving on to the Boston Celtics. Protected is Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Chris Stapps, Derek White, Al Horford, Peyton Pritchard, Baylor Shireman Otto, Jordan Walsh. That means Jaden Springer, Xavier Tillman, Neemias Queta, Sam Hauser, and Luke Cornett are unprotected. This one I struggled with a little bit, and is mainly whether or not to protect Sam Hauser. And the names that I think would be vulnerable there would be Peyton Pritchard or Jordan Walsh. Thoughts?
Let's keep Hauser. It is a tough one. I think Pritchard would stay protected. Walsh is probably just keep Hauser for fun. Okay. That'd be tough. It's tough because you get to these teams and there's a debate with each player, and everyone would be like, "Oh, they'll keep Hauser." It's like, okay, well then who are they getting rid of? I don't think they're getting rid of Pritchard. Maybe they get rid of Walsh, but I think it's more fun if we keep Hauser in because you're going to see the rest of the names, and I think it's more fun if we keep Hauser.
Is Sam Hauser now the first pick?
Yes. No. I think he's in the conversation.
Okay. Moving on to the Brooklyn Nets. Protected Nick Claxton, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Thomas, Daron Sharp, Noah Clowney, Keon Johnson, and Jalen Wilson. That means Ben Simmons, Bojan Bogdanovic, Dennis Schroeder, Zaire Williams, Dariq Whitehead, Shake Milton, Trendon Watford are all available.
No objections.
Charlotte Hornets, protected, LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, Grant Williams, Josh Green, Brandon Miller, Tijane Saloon, Nick Richards, Mark Williams, and Nick Smith Jr. Unprotected, Cody Martin, Micic, Trey Mann, Taj Gibson, Seth Curry.
No rejections.
All righty. Look at us. Chicago Bulls, protected, Zach LaVine. Thought about that one. Make it spicy.
That would have been really, really spicy. Who's protecting him, LaVine or the Bull?
Nikola Vucevic, Pat Williams, Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Ayo Dosunmu, Modest Buzelis, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, unprotected, Lonzo Ball, Jalen Smith, Javon Carter, Chris Duarte, Torrey Craig, and Bitim.
I love when that. Yeah, I actually was going to stop you, but I want to make you read it. No, I think you're fine. I have to throw down a side story. I think also an incredible story is after the Pistons won it, they did an expansion draft, and while the celebratory, Bad Boy Pistons, sorry folks, while they were having the parade, they had an expansion draft, and Rick Moore got told he was going to the Timberwolves. Can you imagine that? That's unbelievable.
That's
so
tough.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cavs unprotected, George Niang, Ty Jerome, Sam Merrill, Tristan Thompson, Craig Porter Jr. Any objections?
No objections.
Alrighty. Mavs unprotected, Maxi Kleber, Quentin Grimes, Dwight Powell, Dante Exum, Omax Prosper, AJ Lawson, Spencer Dinwiddie.
None. I mean, is there anyone you're on the fence about? Maybe that's
Omax.
easier.
I thought about Maxi. I thought about just because of how good he's been for them, but then it's like he also hasn't been healthy for a lot of it, and just you look at the rest of that team.
I think those are right. Yeah.
Like
think those
I
are
think
good.
Najee's just a better player than those guys right now too.
Well, they just signed him too. I don't feel like we can be like, okay,
Right.
they just signed him. We gotta. Okay, go ahead.
Denver was pretty straightforward for me.
Yep.
I think saving Hunter Tyson over Jalen Pickett was the only iffy one, but based on how Pickett has looked last year in a summer
Yeah.
league,
I think you're right there.
Pistons, I know cupboard is pretty bare there. Sasser was the only iffy one, but I don't see them. You know, they just signed Fontecchio and traded for him. Ivy, they'd protect Jalen Duran.
Yeah, I think you're good there too. Is there any teams when you're making this that you're on the fence about? Because I looked through the list and I agreed with everyone, but is there anyone you're really debating? Because we're obviously gonna go through these teams while we're doing this.
Golden State, I struggled with a little bit.
That one's tough.
So
because I also understand everyone you picked, and I also understand debate.
So what I landed on was protecting Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Pods, and Trace Jackson Davis. That means DeAnthony Melton, Gary Payton II, Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield, Lindy Waters III, and Guy Santos are all available. There are a lot of names in there.
I know we just made that point about signing guys, but those were all like, I agree with those. The Warriors fans would be keeping those guys. And
because I obviously Steph, Draymond, and Wiggins. Now, you know, obviously you hope that Wiggins gets back to what he looked like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Steph and Draymond, they're not letting go anywhere. But then, you know, Kevon Looney does so much for them, and they still need some sort of size. And you have to kind of just keep the youth, I think, protected. And Kuminga, Moody, I thought about either him or Melton because I really like DeAnthony Melton. They also seem to really like Gary Payton II. And they just refuse to play Moses Moody. But I just think at his age, the upside, the salary hit, I thought Moses Moody was still just too valuable.
When this does happen in real life, there's going to be curveballs in which, like, wouldn't shock me if Wiggins wasn't protected.
Yeah.
Because I think a team would be like, okay, take that off the books from, like, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, it wouldn't shock me, but I think for this exercise, I don't want to take Wiggins with my first pick. So I think it's fine to.
But from a Warriors standpoint, too, they're trying to my thought process is they're still trying to maximize these final years of
for sure
Steph and Draymond.
I think they're gonna have a good year.
And
so I get it.
And Wiggins has been going through so much family stuff this last year. So I don't know. That was my thought process.
Yeah, right.
Let's see. Houston, I thought was going to be really hard, but ended up being pretty straightforward.
Yeah, those are good.
Indiana, let's see. Indiana was a little tricky. So I ended up protecting Pascal, Tyrese, Miles Turner, Aaron Nesmith, Benedict Mathurin, Juris Walker, Ben Shepherd, Andrew Nemhard, and Johnny Furphy, which means Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell, Isaiah Jackson, James Wiseman, Kendall Brown, and James Johnson are all available.
Indiana is very high on my board, so that one's going to be a bloodbath. No, I just tipped it off to Metcalf. The fun part about this is like one of us picks from a team and then they're off limits. That's where it's going to get really chaotic. Because like if I love someone on a team and you love another guy, it's like, well, who's getting them first?
Yeah, and
Obi's a tough one.
Obi was the one I really struggled with, but I think Juris is just going to be better. So I'd rather.
I get it.
Okay. Clippers were gross.
Any other teams you're just like
Lakers, Memphis? I don't think so.
Let's just get weird. Let's just do it.
Should we just dive in?
Yeah, let's dive in. You're on the clock.
Oh God,
who's your team?
Oh Jesus. I'm going St. Louis.
Okay.
I hate that baseball market. Screw the Cardinals. Go Cubs.
They lost the football team, so I think this is brilliant. This is smart from you.
They've also have a history of losing 2 former NBA teams, so great track record. We'll relocate to Seattle in 15 years when they refuse to build us a stadium. But you know they lost their last one in 1968, so yeah, who cares?
Who cares?
passionate baseball fans,
Yeah,
passionate sports fans,
good fan base. Good fan base.
top 25 market. So I went St. Louis.
Okay.
And just for the record, in case anyone's just tuning in, we outlawed picking Seattle and Vegas because it's boring.
Yeah.
All right, where'd you pick?
I'm going Kansas City.
I like it.
Makes sense.
I thought about them as well.
Yeah. I was trying to think of all day. I was trying to think of what would the mascot be, but I don't really have anything creative. I had like Knights.
Didn't even bother.
I thought Dimes sounded pretty cool.
There.
No, I thought Dimes sound pretty cool, and then I was like, mascot, just disaster. Can't figure out like what's the logo. So I was just running through all day. Everyone could tell like that's where my mind's at throughout the day. I'm like, what would be the logo? And I was like, Dimes has potential. It sounds cool. Basketball logo terrible. Unless it's like someone throwing it, but no. Then who's the mascot in the arena? Just doesn't work, folks. You got to go back to the board. So we'll just stay with Kansas City.
Okay. I also thought about like Vancouver or Calgary. I wanted to keep it westish.
Yeah.
And just everything I Googled or I looked up online was people just being like, God, love Calgary, love Vancouver. No one there gives a fuck about basketball. It's like if you thought a lot of comments of if you the NBA's struggling to get free agents to go to Toronto. Now you want to go to Calgary. Good luck.
Yeah, right.
I pivoted. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you want me to go first? God, why do you want me to go first?
Fascinated to hear where you go here.
Yeah, I'm horrified. Oh boy.
Also, the thing you got to think about here is you got to try to draw some excitement with the fans. So yeah, you might, team building wise, you might have visions down the road, but you got to sell some tickets right away. They're going to be excited. You got to at least keep them coming back.
Well, see, now you're just playing head games with me.
That's what I do. Come on. Doctor of Chaos.
Oh boy. Okay.
I have a name that's going to probably shock you. So,
because
I think I have to do it because I'm running a business here.
All right, I'm probably going to surprise you. I'm going Aaron Wiggins.
Oh, that was high on my board. No, see, that's the problem. Is I like 3 guys on the Thunder, so that hurt.
So, OKC Thunder.
I really did have 3 guys from
off
OKC.
The board. Who else were you thinking of from the Thunder?
I thought Jalen Williams as a good backup big would have been very, very nice for that salary. Who else did I think of? I thought Zhang, and then I was like, well, there's a lot of those around. No offense, Usman.
I thought about Usman too.
Yeah.
I like Wiggins' 10.5 million cap number.
Yep.
I think
that's a good one.
That's a nice little dent in the floor. I also think he's really, really good.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the more underrated players for that Thunder team, and still kind of young. Bigger role, little opportunity to shine. Why not? All right, you're up.
I need to sell tickets. I need excitement. I need someone that's going to just bring it every night. Might be a little older, but I need someone that's just going to make these guys believe that we can actually win some games early on. I'm going to take Russell Westbrook.
Oh my God.
I need it. We got it. We got to get a big name in there. We got to get, and he's cheap. He's $3 million.
He is. He's very cheap.
$3 million. Give me that. So I get the vet.
Okay.
Build it around Russell Westbrook. I'm running a business here. We got to hype him up. If Russell Westbrook's going to be exciting, play him every night. It wasn't an easy one. I was like, am I really going to do this? And then I was like, but it makes some sense with the cap number. If that number was higher, I'd be like, no, but why not?
Yeah. I mean,
let's give it the last dance with Russell Westbrook. That'll be the slogan.
Wasn't even on my board.
Great. I'm already feeling good.
I'm staying on the wing. I'm going Obi Toppin.
It's a good one.
Let's continue to add that versatility, the athleticism. You want to talk about excitement? God, just break away between the legs dunks for days.
That is good. You're getting now. You're starting to think like me. I get it.
Oh, that's scary. I should pivot.
I'm gonna
All right.
take Bojan Bogdanovic at a nice 19 mil from the Brooklyn Nets. It's fun. I had to double check 14 times that he was on Brooklyn.
No, so you're just going with guys who are like looking to retire in the next year or two.
I got to sell some tickets and also trade value.
Yeah, no one sells tickets like Bojan.
People like Bojan. Also, the
I
bogeyman.
love
Everyone loves
Bojan.
him. Yeah, he could play.
I'm
Come
not
on,
buying
give me
a
a break.
ticket for Bojan.
No, but I'm buying one for Westbrook and Bojan. That's going to be the Brody bogey.
Okay, I feel like you're throwing this, but
no, I'm not. Are you kidding me? Just watch.
Okay, well, I'm staying on the wing.
No,
the
that
guy
was
who's
my
already
next
under
pick.
contract.
So
Best shooter available. Sam Hauser.
Okay, I gotta check people off.
So I know he's signed to an extension, right? So this 2 mil is a little misleading because like next year it's gonna be like 15
starts next year, I think.
So perfect. He'll help us hit that race salary floor in year 2 before moving on. Okay, I'm feeling very good about Aaron Wiggins, Obi Toppin, Sam Hauser going against the YMCA senior citizen squad of Russell Westbrook and Bojan Bogdanovic.
You're gonna wish you never said that. I'm gonna take Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Great pick.
Yep.
Was very high on my board.
Wow.
I am
now you're starting to think Rucker might have something going here. He might have a philosophy.
No,
he might be.
you already lost.
Watch the depth I built right now. But just watch me cook.
You already lost.
No way, kidding me?
I cannot wait to see what type of money he gets next year.
Those are guys that I'm always so fascinated because I'm just like, how much is it worth to leave a great place where they clearly love you? Like, how much is it really worth? Or would you take a little less to just be like, I found home? You know, like if you've been bouncing around a little bit, you're like, I found home. Why do I want to leave? Like, I know he's going to get paid, but.
Or is it, hey, I'm making nothing in NBA terms. And this might be my one chance. This might be my one chance at a payday. And he's just continues to be one of the most underrated players.
But is it his one chance? Like if he gets a nice little, like Hauser just got a nice pay grade or pay boost. He probably will at the end of that one get another one. I wouldn't be shocked if Nickeil stays, gets a nice boost. Then all of a sudden it's like, hey, let me cash out 3 years, whatever. Yeah. Who are you at?
All right. So I have a bunch of wings, forwards, need a guard, need a point guard. Speaking of underrated, I'm going to Anthony Melton.
That's a good one. I had 2 guys on that list from the Warriors. I keep forgetting he's there. I just had Healed and Slow-Mo as kind of cap guys if I needed to boost. I also, if I needed some shooting. Oh, you took Toppin.
I did. Number 2 overall.
I was going to take TJ McConnell next, so I can't do that. Everyone's going to have fun when you start realizing how disgusting this gets. Gosh, it's funny now. I'm going through my list and I'm like, I took a guy there. I can't take him. What's my roster?
So you currently have Russell Westbrook, Bojan Bogdanovic, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, total salary of $26,649,000. You need just under $58 million to get to the floor.
Give me Larry Nance from the Hawks. Need vets.
You need more vets?
Yep, we need vets. You can see what I do. I need vets. I'm building a locker room here, Metcalf. I'm not just trying to get guys to just play to.
See, I thought you were selling tickets. Themselves. Now you're trying to build a locker room.
I'm doing a little bit of everything. I get to sell the Westbrook, Bojan, Larry Nance, big 3.
Oh boy. Okay, so I have Aaron Wiggins, Obi Toppin, Sam Hauser, DeAnthony Melton. Total cap of just under 39 million. Need 45.5 to get to the floor. Let's see. Sneaky one I might say for later.
Gosh, it gets gross.
It's tough.
I have a name I want, and I don't want you to take him, so I'm nervous.
Oh, well, let me know who it is so I can avoid him.
You won't avoid him. That's the problem.
There are a couple a lot of sleepers in here. I'm going shooter. I'm going Gary Trent Jr.
Oh, that was a good one on my list. That's a good one. That's a really good one, actually.
On the vet men, 1
Which
year.
is still shocking to me.
And hey, if he shoots the crap out of it, plays well, we re-sign him next year.
Okay. I'm gonna go Trey Mann.
Whoa. Okay. Reclamation project. God, I love Trey Mann coming out of Florida.
I think he's looked good with Charlotte. I feel like people are forgetting he's starting to look a little bit better. Like, I like that. Trying to also get some young guys still. Maybe he'll finally play on an expansion team.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get a minute of playing time next year if everyone's healthy.
Ridiculous. It's a big if.
It is. It is, unfortunately. And they're off to a tough start. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I need a center.
Have fun with that search.
Yeah, that's the problem. God. Nope.
The sad part is there is centers, but then every one of them just comes with
It's a lot of injury issues, or it's mostly a lot of injury issues, unfortunately. I'll take a home run swing on one of the biggest freak athletes I've seen, Jericho Sims.
Yeah, that's a home run swing, all right. Ugh, this gets so tough. I'm not kidding. I might just take guards.
So currently, the teams who no longer have anyone available are the Hawks, the Celtics, the Nets, the Hornets, the Nuggets, the Warriors, the Pacers, the Bucks, Timberwolves, Knicks, Thunder, and that is it.
That's it. Are we having fun yet?
Come on, Mastermind. Who are on your boards? So you still have 41.5 million to go for the floor. Currently sitting with Russell Westbrook, Bojan Bogdanovic, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Larry Nance Jr., Trey Mann.
I'm going to do it, and I just can't stop that love and feeling. Might only get him for 20 games, but I'm going to take Robert Williams.
Yeah, he was next for me. So
hope he's healthy, Williams, and then I get to the All-Star break and ring the dinner bell.
So Robert Williams at 12.5 million. That takes Matisse Thybulle off the board, Chris Murray off the board, Delano Banton, Duop Reith, and Jabari Walker as well. There are a lot of different options that you could have gone there from that team with.
I had Delano. That was a big one on my list.
Delano was sneaky.
Yeah.
I think Jabari Walker would have been sneaky too.
I had him too. There's a lot of interesting names there.
Alrighty. Okay.
It's fun when you get to some teams and you're just like, I want none of this. And if you do this exercise at home, you will find those quickly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man, I don't want any of this.
Very quickly. Oh boy.
Like, I love Raptor fans. I think I got to a point where I was like, I would only take this guy if I needed a vet in the locker room.
What am I doing? Oh.
I looked at Orlando's a very tough one.
Okay.
There's like
All
3
right.
guys
So
I want on
I'm going to
Orlando.
talk. So I'm taking
Talk it out
Orlando
with
off
me.
the board here. I'm taking Orlando
Okay.
off the board.
Talk to me. We'll have fun here.
I'm torn between Cole Anthony at 12.9 and Gary Harris at 7.5.
Wow, no Goga love.
No,
he's turned nice, Metcalf.
Yes, he's good. I'm just
the Cole Anthony one has been pissing me off all day since you made this list last night. I've literally just been like, why would I not take Cole Anthony? And then now I'm still looking like that's what I was like. I might just take guards because Cole Anthony seems like a very good.
So I don't really have like a on-ball creator, but
I know what you're thinking.
I'm going Gary Harris.
Oh gosh, Cole Anthony, we're sorry. It's a cold world.
No, now he doesn't have to worry about moving. Doing him a favor
for Orlando this year. Gosh,
okay, so I'm going Gary Harris. I think the jump he took last year, once he was healthy again, amazing what health can do for a player.
Yeah, amazing.
But shot it extremely well. Incredible defender. At $7.5 million, bit of a veteran presence. Yeah, I just gotta do it. Okay, so that takes Cole Anthony off the board, Mo Wagner off the board, Goga, Gary Harris, obviously, Corey Joseph, and Caleb Houston as well.
Just
that also gets me within 33.7 million of the salary floor. You still got 29 million to go. Plenty of roster spots.
Oh, I got guards, board.
You currently have Russell Westbrook, Bojan Bogdanovic, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Larry Nance Jr., Trey Mann, Robert Williams. I cannot believe that you took Bojan.
You know, don't want to tell you. So I need a remaining cap. Ooh, give me. Here's a swing for you. Give me Carlo Makovic.
Oh,
yeah, baby. Here we go. I wanted to take CJ McCollum so early, and then I just looked at my remaining cap and I went, no, not CJ.
And
we're over. Build a depth here. I can't just. I like that one.
Wow. So there goes the Pelicans soon to be starting center this year.
Gosh, okay. That's amazing.
So Carlo Makovic is off the board. Javonte Green off the board. Jeremiah Robinson Earl off the board. And CJ McCollum off the board. That would leave the Pelicans with Daniel Tyson, East Missy as their center rotation. They got to do something, right?
Yeah, you got to do something. I don't know what they're going to do.
Who?
Keep calling for Portland for DeAndre Ayton, I guess.
Oh,
I don't even know if you want to do that.
I'm not sure I do.
His look at Media Day, it looks like he's like a international general. It's crazy. He looks like he's been hanging out in Spain all off season. Shout out, DeAndre. Happy for you. You're up.
That I am. Oh boy.
It really gets gross.
It does. I'm going point guard. Love this guy coming out of the draft. Houston's finest, Marcus Sasser, at 2.7 mil.
He was very high on my list.
So with Sasser off the board, so is Paul Reed, Malik Beasley, and Wendell Moore Jr. So that leaves me with Aaron Wiggins, Obi Toppin, Sam Hauser, DeAnthony Melton, Gary Trent Jr., Jericho Sims, Gary Harris, Marcus Sasser. Still have about 31 million to get to the floor. Feeling good. Plenty of roster spots. You're about halfway through roster spots, just under 28 million to the floor.
Oh gosh, I hate remaining cap. What am I, 37? Give me Jared Vanderbilt. I'm gonna hope that getting him out of LA gets him healthy.
Jared Vanderbilt for 10.7.
You want to talk about a team that was gross to look through? The Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish part really turned things dark. I had three. I'm looking down the list. I get Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish. I almost threw my phone across the room.
So with Jared Vanderbilt going, that also takes Jalen Hood-Schifino off the board, Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish. What are we thinking with Jalen Hood-Schifino?
I wanted to take him, and I'm just no. I wanted to take him.
I thought about
him. So he had, correct me if I'm wrong, he had a back surgery that I feel like wasn't publicly announced, and then maybe off-season procedure where I was like, oh gosh, those are the worst. So I still would buy. He'd probably, honestly, if we were doing this, you're probably really thinking about him if medical's checked out, because you're like, that's a young name, still very young. If health checks out, I think he's still going early, because you're like, hey, this is a lot of top 20 guy. We could get him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still believing. It's just it's always tough with those young guys when you have that team that's just like, we are beyond all in. It's like, how much can you really help right away? How much do they trust you right away?
And
still believing or nervous?
I'm kind of nervous.
Nervous.
It just because it seems like typically with those young guys, there's at least some sort of puff piece, or like, this is the year he's, best he's ever looked, greatest shape he's ever been in, really clicking with the team. And I feel like we just never get any of that, which is unfortunately kind of a red flag.
Lack of buzz is not fun there.
I hope he's healthy. I hope he's able to play. But it feels off.
Backs are scary. He had a back injury in college, then had a back. It's just, those are really scary if they keep popping up. So,
okay, I'm really trying to filibuster here. I'm not.
Talk to me. I'll assistant GM you. Who are you debating? I mean, if you're taking a team for sure.
So I'm torn between bigs.
Okay.
Because I have Jericho Sims, but
right.
It's Jericho Sims.
Yeah.
I'm still holding out hope, but who knows? So I'm kind of torn between. Where'd they go? I think like Thomas Bryant sneaky, but more so Alex Len and Steven Adams.
Yeah, those are see, now you're giving me crap, but those are all like very important locker room guys. And you give me crap. Steven Adams is a very important guy. Leaders set the tone. Team's going to practice hard every day, but besides being 10 and 20 or 10 and 55, they're still going to practice hard.
Yeah, I'm going Steven Adams. I'm going strongest man in the league.
I hope he actually is like going to be healthy and play. He'd be great for Houston this year.
He'd be fantastic.
He'd be perfect for them.
Especially backup role, playing, lesser minutes, not having to start every night, take some of that wear and tear off of him. You'd never hear, but if you talk about not hearing a bad thing about a guy, he's the poster child for that.
Probably top 5 guys I'm not messing with in the league. And then they have a guy that thinks he's top 5, so it's a perfect match. I'm just saying, that's the mentality you want, is the tough guy that's just like.
So are we just going to get Dylan Brooks like chirping at guys from behind Steven Adams' back?
Oh, 100%. Wouldn't you? If you're like, I have a big human guy behind me.
Okay, so Steven Adams off the board. That takes everyone else with Houston off, including Jeff Green, Jack Londale, Jayshawn Tate, and Aaron Holiday.
I'm really pissed right now because my marketing team could have done wonders with Westbrook and Steven Adams. That's a bad one for me.
The buddies reunited.
But yeah, that's a tough one. What was I thinking?
Idiot.
Oh, so Houston is off the board. I had
They
Jayshawn
are.
Tate as a little sneaky.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Jake LaRavia.
Ooh, I like that. I
Mhm.
like that a lot.
Can we talk about Brandon Clark? What's the deal? Is he healthy? It's one of my favorite prospects
Is anyone
ever.
in Memphis healthy? Knock on wood.
Gosh, it's just brutal for them. I loved Brandon Clark so much, and then it felt like
Yeah.
we had the weird year where they were like messing with his shot completely,
Yeah.
and
Because, after a guy goes through a multi-year overhaul of refining the shot and
we should
fixing his
start
form
over.
and has really, positive results with it, you tear it back down and redo it.
Yeah, everybody knows this. But so he just had the bad injury.
Development 101.
I just don't.
He's been good when he's healthy.
But he had just had a bad. Okay, whatever. Well,
When he's
he was
healthy
on my
for
list. I was just
same.
that was like my
I
salary.
I think John Contrar, sneaky guy too, kind of along those
Yeah.
Jayshawn Tate lines.
Yeah.
So with Jake LaRavia, who was also on my list, he looked very good at Summer League. Again, please stay healthy, Memphis. God, they're gonna be good if they are.
Yeah.
Jake LaRavia is gone. That means Brandon Clark isn't available. John Conchar isn't available. Jake LaRavia isn't available. Memphis is off the board. Okay, so we're both at 9 players. I'm 18.3 from the floor. You're 13.7 mil from the floor. I'm currently sitting with Aaron Wiggins, Obi Toppin, Sam Hauser, DeAnthony Melton, Gary Trent Jr., Jericho Sims, Gary Harris, Marcus Sasser, Steven Adams. You have Russell Westbrook, Bojan Bogdanovic, Nikhil Alexander Walker, Larry Nance Jr., Trey Mann, Robert Williams, Carlo Matkovic, Jared Vanderbilt, Jake LaRavia. And the pickings are slim. Alrighty.
I like my team.
I like my team. I think my team would kick your team's ass.
Let's be realistic here. It gets so ugly.
It's tough. We're just, and to be clear, we'd both be in the race for the number 1 pick in next year's draft.
Very excited about that. Very excited about that. Capture the flag.
I'm going shooting. I'm going Sam Merrill.
It's a really good pick. I was thinking about Sam for the last couple picks. That's a sneaky good one. I thought about Niang too. And I didn't love the number, but I was like, that could make sense. Thought Craig Porter Jr., if he had a better summer league, I would have just jumped all over that. I was just
I thought about protecting him.
Yeah.
That one was really close. I can't remember who I landed on. I think I went Okoro over him, but that's just because Okoro's a better player.
It'll be amazing when they actually do this because teams are gonna not protect some guys. And oh my gosh, what a middle thing! But it's also, do you know? Is it like if you go get because I know Simmons and Russillo did this shocker, and they mentioned like teams can do like kind of like the under the table, like don't pick them, we'll give you a pick and stuff, and it's like how does that work? I would just be like, we're gonna take him.
One of the articles I was reading prepping for this talked about how Charlotte, I'm blanking on what team it was, but Charlotte got like the 31st overall pick or an early 2nd round pick from a team for to stay away from X player. So yeah, and you basically just send picks,
you hold ransom
to the team and be like, all right, this guy's not protected, but we're paying you to not take him.
Yeah.
It's
basically a bank robbery.
So OKC theoretically could protect everybody on their roster by just sending out
picks.
The rest of the league's picks.
That would be incredible. Could you imagine what a power move that is by Presti? He's just like, how am I going to get rid of him? That's awesome.
And they would still be in the positive for picks going forward. So
Can you imagine if you're like the T-Wolves, you don't have any picks, and you're just like,
just
come
hiding
on.
in the corner, like when the teacher's scanning the room and you're just desperately not making eye contact.
Do you just pick? Am I up?
Yeah, I went Sam Merrill, so that took George Niang, Ty Jerome, Tristan Thompson, and Craig Porter Jr. off the board.
How much money do I need to spend still, Mr. Metcalf? Can you show me?
You are 13.7 away from the floor. You have up.
I'm gonna take
about
someone on
22.
Dallas. So do you want to go to the Dallas's roster?
Yes, absolutely.
Have some fun with this.
So available, there's Maxi Kleba, Quentin Grimes, Dwight Powell, Dante Exum, Omax Prosper, AJ Lawson, Spencer Dinwiddie.
Give me Dwight Powell.
Whoa.
Yeah. And, wait, do I have 13 million of cap space, or do I have 13 million to get to?
You have 23 remaining.
Give me Kleber. I thought I had 13 of cap space, and I was like, I'm not taking Kleber for 11, but I'll take Kleber.
Wow. No Quentin Grimes or Omax there, huh?
No.
Fascinating. Tough year for Grimes last year.
Tough year. Still believe. Just
yeah.
No. Just not in Kansas City. We don't believe.
Okay, so you just need
thin.
You just need 2.7 to get to the floor, and you have 12 total remaining.
Oh my gosh! I think I'm. Go ahead.
No, so what were you gonna say?
No, I thought the guy who I want to take next, I thought was like the perfect amount to get to the floor. And I was gonna be like, I couldn't have planned this any better, but it's a little below, so it's gonna be funny though. Very excited for my next pick though.
This is gross.
Miami's definitely the team I got really gross of. Like, I don't want to look at anyone here.
Yeah, that one was tough.
It also is funny just looking at Kevin Love for $3 billion and being like, "Nah, I'm good." It's not a slander to Kevin Love. I'm just like, for expansion team, do I really?
Kevin's been through a lot. Kevin doesn't want to go to St. Louis from Miami. You know, he did his time in Cleveland and Minnesota, and
he's still my favorite. I wish he stayed with his first team because he was a holy crap type of player, and then Cleveland made him lose a bunch of weight.
I'm going Julian Champagnie.
Wow. Champagne showers.
So Zach Collins gone, Champagnie gone, Blake Wesley gone, Charles Bassey gone, Sandro Mamakulashvili gone, Sidi Sissoko gone.
One, really impressed by how quickly you rattled off Sandro's name. Two, thank you for taking his Spurs.
You have no idea how long I practiced that when Sandro was coming up through the draft out of Seton Hall. Is like, oh my god, I'm getting this name.
Still loved his Seton Hall film. Just loved
that
it.
Was fun.
Also, was just the most obvious. He's probably not going to work in the NBA, but I absolutely would take him in the second round.
Yep.
No team's going to let him do this, but I would probably just say, all right, just show me. With my next pick, I'm going to take Gershon Yabusele. My pride and joy. I thought he was 2.7. He's 2.0, but I was like, oh, what perfect. Yabu, baby. There's the marketing bomb for our organization. Kansas City, Yabu. Can you imagine him eating all that barbecue food? Gosh, we're so back.
And he's back in France.
Yeah, and he's back in France.
Okay, so that takes Kenyon Martin Jr. off the board, Eric Gordon, Reggie Jackson, and Gershon.
Can you imagine how much Philly fans will love him if he just like starts the year out shooting 42% from downtown and like
his last like
nuts.
2 to 3 years he's been shooting the crap out of the ball.
Dude, he can play.
Yeah.
Like I'm not just saying this. I always thought like if he goes overseas, I felt very confident that he was going to come back because he's just a tough assignment. Like he's humongous, and then he also is fearless going to the basket. So I thought that was a very smart move. I was like, okay, how much more do we need to watch here, NBA teams, before someone signs him? Jalen Smith.
Yeah. I'm going Jalen Smith from the Bulls for $8.5 million. That takes Lonzo off,
Suns
Javon Carter,
fans,
Chris Duarte, Torrey Craig, and Onrualp Bidham. Apologies
wanted
on
you to say it.
pronunciation.
You're okay.
Just butchered that. Yeah, gotta follow up Mamukelashvili with that. Oh,
Suns fans love that pick. Okay.
did you like Jalen coming out?
No.
Okay, me either.
I liked him late teens, early 20s. I just didn't understand it over
late first. Yeah, I didn't
yeah,
get
like
the lottery stuff.
I did not like him in the lottery. I liked Tyrese Halliburton.
It's been a tough road, but I think he's grown into a decent player. So
Sticked around. He stayed around. That's all that matters. And at the end of the day, if you keep getting contracts, you're doing something.
All right. So let's see
gosh.
who is. So the Clippers have players available. The Heat, the Suns, the Kings, the Raptors, the Jazz, and the Wizards.
Really, if you just want to get depressed, you looked at the Clippers roster.
Yeah, that's tough.
Oh, you took Gary Trent, so the Bucks are off.
Correct. You have 640,000 to get to the floor. You have 10 million to the cap.
Oh man, this gets gross. Monty Morris.
Okay.
Monte Morris for $2 million. On the Suns. I forgot they're marking him as like, oh my gosh, we have a point guard, Monte Morris, this year, right?
No, they're like Tyus Jones. We have a point guard.
Tyus Jones. Sorry. But yeah, give me. I need bench guys, or I need just depth fillers.
Hopefully Monte can stay healthy this year.
Yeah.
Just never clicked with Minnesota last year. Obviously Detroit struggles, but yeah, he was good with Denver. That feels like a lifetime ago.
It does, doesn't it?
Yikes.
It's tough. Like Davion Mitchell, I was like,
I'm going Alex Len. I'm going Steven Adams Insurance.
That's a good pick. Talk about another guy that's made himself a very nice career.
He's been a really good backup third string big for them.
Yes, he has.
So that means Kings are off the board. So no Jalen McDaniels, no Colby Jones, who I thought about. No Alex Len, Jordan McLaughlin, or Orlando Robinson.
It's pretty annoying how much I used to just love Rashawn Holmes, and
when he first popped with that little push shot and just took NBA Twitter by storm, and I was like, oh.
Well, and he was just like the workhorse rebounder that played really hard and then got paid, got hurt, got paid. Okay, this is
So on the Clippers, you have available PJ Tucker, Chris Dunn, Nicholas Batum, Bones Highland, Kevin Porter Jr., and Mo Bamba. On the Heat, you have Kevin Love, Josh Richardson, Alec Burks, Thomas Bryant. On the scrolling. On the Raptors, you have Davion Mitchell, Ochai Agbaji, Garrett Temple, and Bruno Fernando. The Jazz, Drew Eubanks, Svi Mikhailuk, Johnny Juzang, and Patty Mills. And the Wizards, Rashawn Holmes, Sadiq Bey, Patrick Baldwin Jr., Jared Butler, and Anthony Gill. And you have $7.9 million to work with.
Oh gosh. I'll take Batum.
Okay.
I hated everyone on the Clippers.
Yeah, it was
like I just don't
really
like
bad.
any of the options. A couple for obvious reasons. PJ Tucker for $11 million seems like
That
I
was
love
one
PJ, but like he might just be like, no.
That was one of my break glass in case of emergency type like salary fillers. If I was really struggling to get there, when I was doing the protections and that kind of filling all this out, I was really hoping that Amir Coffey wouldn't be able to get protected because he's turned into a really nice player for them. But
PJ is the type that I think if you told him an expansion team drafted you, he might be like, I retire from basketball.
Yeah.
I think there's a very serious chance he'd be like,
yes,
I'm done.
I'm not doing that.
So can't do that.
Okay, so that takes PJ Tucker off the board, Chris Dunn, Nick Batum, Bones Highland, Kevin Porter Jr., and Mo Bamba. Okay. Where am I at? So I got plenty of room to work with. So I have 2.5 million to the floor. I have like 11 million total to work with. And I'm going Davion Mitchell.
That's a good late pick.
Boom.
Oh, you took someone from Milwaukee. Dang it.
Yeah, you keep circling back to that. So Davion Mitchell is off the board. That means Ochai Agbaji, who I also thought about, gone. Garrett Temple gone. Bruno Fernando gone. So the only remaining teams, eligible teams to pick from, are the Heat, the Jazz, and the Wizards.
What do I have? 3 million?
You are 3.2 million under the cap.
All the guys are expensive. Wizards, Jazz, Heat.
Yeah. So on the Heat, you have Kevin Love at 3.8, Josh Richardson at almost 3 flat, Alec Burks and Thomas Bryant for just over 2.
Everyone makes 2. This sucks.
The Jazz, Drew Eubanks at 5. God, how did he get? Good for him. Svi Mikhailuk,
because he dunks on people randomly.
Johnny Juzang at just over 3. Patty Mills at just over 2. It's all these vet minimums that are killing you. Then the Wizards, Rashawn Holmes still making 12.5. Good for you, Rashawn. Sadiq Bey at 6.4. Patrick Baldwin Jr. at 2.4. Jared Butler 2.1. Anthony Gill at just over 2. You are 3.2 under the cap. You don't have to go a full 15 if you want to just round it out with one more.
Yeah, I'll go one more. Then get like a. We got a G League. We have a G League team. Kansas City. Do we have a G League team? Okay. Who's the end of the roster guy? I'll go. Wow. I guess Alec Burks.
Okay.
Keep the train going for Alec Burks. Add another notch on the belt.
All right, Alec Burks.
I wanted to take Jared Butler so bad just to be like, I believe. I still believe.
That means Kevin Love gone. No Josh Richardson, Alec Burks, Thomas Bryant. Oh, boy. Okay, so we're both at 14.
Electric.
I have, how much room do I have? I got 5.5. How I can take any of these guys, except Rashawn Holmes. No Sadiq Bey. He's hurt this year.
How are you going to sleep at night knowing you couldn't take Rashawn Holmes with the last pick? Wizards fans, I still love you. That wasn't a slander at you guys. It's just a slander at 12.6. 12.5? 12.6.
PBJ. Why not?
Why not? You know?
Patrick Baldwin.
Third team guy?
Well,
third team guy.
Welcome to St. Louis. So no Rashawn Holmes, Sadiq Bey, Jared Butler, Anthony Gill. That leaves the Utah Jazz as the only unscathed team, clinging to Drew Eubanks, Svi Mikhailuk, Johnny Juzang, and Patty Mills. There it is.
Danny Ainge would be calling everyone like, what the hell, guys?
It's like, didn't like any of our guys?
I'll give you a pick.
That would be funny.
That would be funny.
Okay. So final results. Rucker ended up with Russell Westbrook, Bojan Bogdanovic, Nikhil Alexander Walker, Larry Nance Jr., Trey Mann, Robert Williams, Carlo Makovich, Jared Vanderbilt, Jake Laravia, Maxi Kleba, Gershon Yabusele, Monte Morris, Nicholas Batum, and Alec Burks for a total salary of $92.5 million. Just over $1 million under the cap. Nailed it. For myself, in St. Louis, we ended up with Aaron Wiggins, Obi Toppin, Sam Hauser, DeAnthony Melton, Gary Trent Jr., Jericho Sims, Gary Harris, Marcus Sasser, Steven Adams, Sam Merrill, Julian Champagny, Jalen Smith, Alex Len, Davion Mitchell, Patrick Baldwin Jr. Total salary of $90.7 million, $3 million under the cap.
You went on a nice little run after Gary Harris. Or with Gary Harris, I'm saying. You went on a nice little depth run. You got some good stuff.
I really like my team's chances of getting to that treadmill of mediocrity really quickly.
It's the classic Orlando Magic where they were just like on fire to start out the first year at expansion, and then you just lose like 20 straight. And you're just like, oh, okay. But that is the fun part. It also is hilarious. If I had to take one more guy, would it be the first and only time ever an expansion team went into the salary tax? It'd be amazing. It is a point right now where the league it's so deep with talent. Like we still have guys like Markelle Fultz, like a free agent. Like I do think there is a need for expansion teams. So it's going to be really interesting when these teams happen, because it's going to be a fun little, like, you can really get some nice pieces from teams. Yeah. How does that work with free agency? Are you just able to go pick off of free agents? Obviously you got to try to sell a guy on like, hey, will you come play for an expansion team? But money talks.
Yeah, there were a lot of kind of nuances with the free agent stuff, where it's like if you took a guy who was going to be a restricted free agent, he automatically becomes like an unrestricted.
Like after a year or something.
Yeah, so I think I think it's if like I took a guy who had 1 year left on his contract, but he's a restricted free agent next summer, shifts to being an unrestricted,
which is a good rule.
It is. And, in that case, I wonder if there's some agent shenanigans that come into play and guys try to force their way to be taken and have a big year with an expansion team and then become an unrestricted free agent. So I thought this was a really fun exercise. I think it really highlights how difficult and messy and gross this is going to get, especially if they introduce both teams in the same year. 2 teams doing this.
They're going to have to. I think they're going to have to.
Yeah.
Well, because I think you always want to end with even numbers now.
Yeah, ideally.
And it's time. Like, very obvious 2 markets need teams. And I'm no slander to the fine folks in St. Louis and Kansas City. But it's very obvious. Vegas, it's the worst kept secret in basketball right now. Vegas is going to have one, and who wants to have that team? And it doesn't feel right with the Seattle Supersonics not back. We need it back. So it's going to be very interesting when they do this, because I do think there's going to be shocking names that get unprotected or are left unprotected.
Especially with all like the first and second apron stuff too. I think you're going to see some teams who have fallen very far short of their expectations with some huge salaries on the books and being like,
yes.
Yeah. And if you take them, you take them, shucks.
Yeah, right. Like the cap stuff's going to come into picture of like, take them.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you took our guy who was getting paid $25 million and now you just saved us 35 in luxury tax. It'll be fun. It's going
to be unprotecting, and like the cap guru in the war room just going to be like pacing back and forth, like, please take him. You're going to make my job so much easier. Take him. So, and I think that stuff's going to be important. That's where you're going to have to go to your whole organization and be like, hey, what's the headache for us? Like, what do we need to get rid of to make everything smoother? So that's why it'll be so fun. Like, yeah, we're naming obvious guys. We're probably going off of just talent, but I think the aprons will be a big part of like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait. Rucker, this is a blast. You got anything to plug?
Yeah, we have NBA preseason basketball
Yeah, we
tomorrow.
do.
Also, as people are listening to this on the
Friday night.
podcast feed, incredible. Hopefully, you're listening to this and realizing that the defending champions are about to tip off live from Dubai. It's incredible, and I think we're almost less than 30 days till college hoops. Gosh, thank you, sweet baby Jesus. We are almost back. I'm pumped, Metcalf. Who have you been watching? Let's just do a quick little
I've
hitter.
just kind of been on that international grind.
It's
So,
been fun.
Ben Seraph, who I have a film school out on over on the No Ceilings YouTube channel. Go check that out. Um, I can remove
He's
the
so
spreadsheet by
good.
now. He's looking fantastic. Noah Senge looking really solid. A little more up and down with him, but still 17, I think. So
Yep.
still super young. Fascinating tools. Um, Nolan Traore, big game. Just
Yeah.
the other day, 27 points, 50% shooting, 5 assists, 0 turnovers. That's what you love to see. I have a film school coming out on him soon.
Bad man.
Go check it out because why not? What else are you gonna do? What else are you gonna do with your day? Why not?
Right.
Alex Tui knocking down shots
Dewey's
left
playing
and right.
good. Dewey's playing
What
good.
about you? I would like Hugo Gonzalez to play.
Yeah, waiting on Hugo. That one's always fun. Always fun when you're relying on the big clubs to play guys.
Never gonna happen.
Hugo, Ben looks very good. Still a Tui believer. Still very excited about that. It's just, we're starting to get a little bit of teasers from college practices. We're starting to get some intel. We're starting to get inching towards the floodgates opening up at No Ceilings full time. It's a very exciting time of the year. I'm just loving this right now because you can feel the buzz starting even earlier.
Yeah.
Like people are just pumped for a lot of these prospects. And I'm not just talking international, I'm talking stateside guys are starting to hear stuff. And it's just like, oh, this is going to be a year to remember. So I don't know. I'm excited for everyone. You have any hot takes with college guys? Anyone you're loving?
No.
Yeah.
I did. This name popped up in the chat the other day, but I did go check out that Greek kid, Nicholas Avdalis. Apologies if I butchered that. He's intriguing. I get where the intrigue comes from. He's like 6'8", really interesting passer, slasher. There's some fun defensive stuff, but still very raw. But he's intriguing. I'm curious to see what he looks like in the spring.
How many names you got right now?
I
have the most names I've ever had. The other day I was like, what's
like
wrong with me?
170.
I'm right there around. I'm getting close to 200. I'm like, what is going on? But I also think it's just a testament to this class. Like there is very intriguing returners.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's always a lot of those guys you put down and you're like, oh, I quickly found my answer a couple months in. And I do think there's a lot with the portal and everything. There's a lot of guys that are going to be in new places that I'm very excited to see. But there's also returners like Kwame Evans. I'm pumped out of my mind to see. Gosh, it's going to be a fun year. Going to be a very, very fun year. So that's all I got, Metcalf. I'm just foaming at the mouth for basketball to be back.
Almost there.
Almost there.
And by the time you're listening to this, it's probably Friday, except for those of you who joined us live. Welcome. We love you. This is a lot of fun. But I will be doing playback, streaming the Timberwolves Lakers game Friday night. Tips off like 9:30 Central PM. Just fantastic time for that. Love that. But come hang out. We're gonna watch some hoops, have some fun, ask questions, come on stage, shoot the shit. We'll have fun with it. So very excited to just get this season underway and get rolling. But he is Tyler Rucker. You can follow him at Tyler_Rucker. I'm Tyler Metcalf. You can follow me at Team Metcalf11. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and a 5-star rating. Till next time. See ya.